Hello folks. Let me ask you something. Have you ever reheated last night's dinner, thinking you're being sensible, saving a little time and money? It feels like the responsible thing to do, doesn't it? We've all been there. But what if I told you that this simple, everyday act could be quietly setting the stage for serious health problems? I'm talking about something as frightening as pancreatic cancer, one of the toughest battles a person can face. And here's the nightmare that few people talk about. Shocking research suggests that certain compounds, formed in common reheated foods, can create chronic inflammation, a key trigger for this devastating disease. The danger is hidden in plain sight, right in our own kitchens. In my decades as a family doctor, I've sat with countless patients and listened to their stories. I've seen firsthand how seemingly harmless habits can lead to devastating consequences down the road. And believe me, the way we handle our leftovers is one of the most common and most dangerously misunderstood risks that I see. This isn't just theory from a textbook. This is about real people. In this video, I'm going to share the stories of folks just like you. People like Carol, a wonderful retired teacher, and Robert, a devoted grandfather. They both thought they were doing everything right, but their reheated meals were secretly making them sick, tired, and unwell. But please, don't be alarmed. This video isn't about fear. It's about empowerment. It's about knowledge. I'm going to reveal the 4 specific foods you should be very careful about reheating. I'll explain the simple science behind the danger in a way that just makes sense, and most importantly, I'll give you safe, practical alternatives to protect yourself. And I urge you, please stick with me until the very end. The 4th food on our list is something almost every single one of us reheats. And understanding the risk associated with it, well, it might just be one of the most important things you learn for your health this year. Everything we discuss today is based on solid, established medical science and my own clinical experience. No scare tactics, just the facts. So, before we dive in, I truly want to know how many of us this resonates with. If the idea of reheating leftovers to save a little money and avoid waste feels familiar to you, please take a moment to comment a simple yes below. It helps me understand, and it shows others in our community that they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. Alright, folks, let's begin with our first, and perhaps most common, hidden danger. Number 1. Reheated vegetable oils and fried foods. Let's talk about something we all love. That crispy, golden fried chicken, those perfect French fries, or maybe some delicious onion rings. It's pure comfort food, isn't it? It reminds us of family gatherings, Sunday dinners, and simpler times. And when you've cooked a big batch, especially when you're watching your budget on a fixed income, it seems incredibly wasteful to throw out the leftovers. Reheating them for lunch the next day feels like the sensible, frugal thing to do. It's a habit passed down through generations. But here is a truth I've come to understand after many years in my practice. The problem isn't the chicken itself. It's the cheap, common vegetable oils that most of us use for frying. I'm talking about those big, clear plastic jugs of canola, soybean, corn, or sunflower oil that are so affordable at the grocery store. While they seem harmless, their chemical structure is very unstable. And when you heat these oils for a second time, a dangerous transformation happens. They begin to break down and release a flood of nasty compounds called aldehydes. Now, that's a scientific term, so let me break it down for you in a simpler way. Think of these aldehydes as a form of rust. A rust that forms inside your body. When you consume them, they cause something called oxidative stress, which leads to chronic inflammation. And folks, believe me when I say that inflammation is the smoldering fire behind so many of our health problems as we age, from aching joints to heart disease. And yes, it puts a particularly heavy strain on your hard-working pancreas. Why does this become so much more critical as we get older? Well, when we're young, our bodies are like brand new engines with incredible natural repair systems. They can clear out these harmful compounds relatively efficiently. But as we enter our golden years, our body's repair crews slow down a bit. They aren't as robust. We can't clear out these toxic aldehydes as easily. So, with each reheated meal, the inflammation can build up, layer by layer, putting a cumulative and heavy burden on our vital organs. The pancreas, which is already working hard to help us digest our food and regulate blood sugar, becomes especially vulnerable to this relentless stress. Perhaps this sounds familiar to you on a personal level. Does feeling bloated, persistently tired, or just having a generally upset stomach after eating leftovers ring a bell? So many of my patients initially dismiss these feelings as just a normal part of getting old. But it might not be. It could very well be your body struggling to cope with the inflammation caused by these reheated oils. It's a quiet signal that something is wrong. Numerous scientific studies, published in journals focused on nutrition and carcinogenesis, have linked repeated exposure to aldehydes from reheated oils to cellular and even DNA damage, creating an environment where serious diseases can take root. This isn't just a theory from a lab. I see it in the lives of my patients. I think of a lovely woman named Carol, a 68-year-old retired teacher living on her pension. She was one of the most frugal and resourceful people I knew. To make her budget stretch, she'd fry a large batch of chicken on Sunday to have for meals throughout the week. Each day, she'd reheat a few pieces in the microwave. She came to me feeling utterly exhausted, bloated, and just unwell. She couldn't understand it. We ran tests, and we talked for a long time. It was only when we carefully went over her daily habits that the puzzle piece clicked into place. We connected her symptoms to the reheated fried food. I suggested a simple experiment. For 2 weeks, I asked her to stop reheating fried foods altogether. The change was remarkable. Within a week, the bloating subsided. By the end of the second week, she called my office, and I could hear the energy back in her voice. She told me, "I feel like a cloud has lifted. I had no idea those leftovers were weighing me down so much." It was a night and day difference, and it didn't cost her a single penny in medication. So, what is the solution here? It's not about giving up your favorite foods. It's about preparing them more safely. Instead of deep frying in those unstable vegetable oils, try baking your food. You can get a wonderful, satisfying crispness by tossing chicken pieces or potato wedges in a little bit of stable, healthy fat, like extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil, and baking them on a sheet pan in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The result is delicious, and you avoid creating those harmful aldehydes. If you do decide to indulge in some classic fried food, please enjoy it fresh, right after it's been cooked. Don't let it become a leftover. So, the first powerful action you can take for your health is this. I want you to make a promise to yourself. Stop reheating fried foods. Your pancreas and your entire body will thank you for it. Start choosing freshness, and start choosing preparation methods that honor your body. If this is the first time you're hearing this information and you find it helpful, please let me know. Take a moment to comment on the word healthy below. It helps me know that this message is getting through, and it encourages others in our community to take these small but powerful steps together. Now, let's move on to the second hidden danger, something that holds a very special place in the heart of the American diet. Number 2. Reheated processed meats. Bacon sizzling in a pan for breakfast. A thick slice of deli ham layered in a sandwich for lunch. Hot dogs grilling at a family barbecue on the 4th of July. These foods are more than just meals. They are woven into the fabric of our lives, into our fondest memories. And of course, who hasn't reheated a slice of leftover meatloaf or a sausage patty from the morning before? It's quick, it's convenient, and it ensures that no food and no money go to waste. On the surface, it seems like a perfectly sensible habit. But I need to share with you a difficult truth that I've seen impact the health of many good people. The convenience of these foods comes with a hidden biological cost, a cost that gets significantly higher when you heat them for a second time. You see, these meats, bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli slices, even many types of meatloaf, contain chemical preservatives called nitrites. They are added to preserve the color, prevent spoilage, and extend shelf life. Now, these nitrites are already a health concern on their own, but a far more dangerous chemical reaction occurs when they are exposed to high heat, especially the second time around in a microwave or a hot skillet. This reheating process can transform those nitrites into new compounds called nitrosamines. Let me be very clear about this. Nitrosamines are potent, carcinogenic chemicals. The World Health Organization's own International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified processed meats as a Group 1 carcinogen, placing them in the very same category of risk as tobacco and asbestos. That is a shocking fact, but it's true. The nitrosamines formed during reheating directly irritate the delicate lining of your digestive system, from your stomach all the way through to your intestines. and they place a particular and repeated stress on the pancreas. So, why does this matter more to us as we get older? Think of your digestive tract like a well-traveled country road. When you were young, it was freshly paved and could handle almost anything. But after 60, 70, or more years of service, that road becomes more sensitive. It has a few more bumps and cracks. The repeated irritation from potent chemicals like nitrosamines is like driving a heavy truck over that same sensitive spot day after day. It wears it down, causing chronic, low-grade inflammation. And as a doctor, I can tell you with certainty that chronic inflammation is the fertile ground where many serious conditions, including pancreatic cancer, can begin to grow. I want you to think for a moment. Have you ever experienced that vague feeling of indigestion, a persistent bloating, or a sense of heaviness in your stomach after eating a meal with reheated processed meats? It's easy to brush it off, to think, oh, my digestion just isn't what it used to be. But what you're feeling is not random. It's a direct signal from your body. It's a warning flare, letting you know that it's struggling to deal with something harmful. This reminds me so much of a patient of mine, a wonderful man named Robert. Robert was a 72-year-old grandfather, a proud man of routine and efficiency. For years, his morning ritual was to cook a whole package of sausage links on Monday, then microwave a few for a quick breakfast every other day of the week. He thought it was harmless, a smart way to save time. He came to my office complaining of persistent digestive issues that we just couldn't pin down. He felt bloated, occasionally nauseous, and just heavy. We looked into all the usual suspects, but nothing seemed to fit. Finally, during one of our long conversations, he mentioned his breakfast routine. A light bulb went on. We decided on an experiment, just like I did with Carol. I asked Robert to give up his reheated sausages for just 3 weeks and switch to fresh eggs, maybe with some avocado or whole wheat toast. He was skeptical, but he was willing to try anything. The result was nothing short of astonishing. After about a week, he reported feeling a little better. By the end of the 3rd week, he came back to my office, and he looked like a different person. He was brighter, had more energy, and he told me the constant discomfort was gone. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I feel lighter and more energized than I have in years. I wish I'd known sooner how much those leftovers were affecting me." Robert's story is a powerful reminder that the biggest improvements in our health often come from the smallest, most intentional changes. It's not about expensive treatments. It's about understanding what our bodies need. So, what is the clear, actionable advice here? It is not my place to tell you to never again enjoy a hot dog at a baseball game. Instead, the solution is about mindfulness. If you do choose to eat processed meats, please enjoy them fresh, and consider how you cook them. Instead of frying bacon at a very high heat, for example, try baking it on a sheet in the oven at a more moderate temperature. This can help reduce the formation of some of these harmful compounds. For your daily meals, like sandwiches and breakfast, I strongly encourage you to choose fresh alternatives. Freshly cooked chicken or turkey breast, a simple egg salad, hummus, or even canned fish like salmon or tuna are all wonderful, healthier choices that don't carry this reheating risk. So, here is my direct advice as your doctor and your friend. Minimize your reliance on reheated processed meats. It is a simple, powerful step you can take, starting today, to reduce the inflammatory load on your body. Choose fresh whenever you can. Alright, everyone. Let's move on to our 3rd item on the list, and this one. Well, this one is a true wolf in sheep's clothing. It's something found in almost every pantry in America. It's humble, it's comforting, and it seems completely harmless. Number 3. Reheated rice dishes. Rice. It's cheap, it's filling, and it goes with everything. For so many of us, especially those who are retired and cooking for just 1 or 2 people, making a big pot of rice to last for a few days seems like the smartest, most practical thing in the world. It saves time, it saves energy, and it stretches every dollar. Whether it's plain white rice, a hearty brown rice, or a delicious fried rice with leftovers, it's a dependable staple. But here is where I must, as your doctor, ask you to lean in and listen very carefully. Despite its innocent appearance, leftover rice, if not handled with absolute precision, can pose one of the most common and misunderstood food safety risks in our kitchens. The danger has a specific name: Bacillus cereus. Now, that's a fancy name, so let me explain it in simple terms. Uncooked rice, straight from the bag, naturally contains the dormant spores of this bacterium. Think of these spores as tiny, armor-plated seeds. They are incredibly tough. In fact, they are so tough that the initial boiling process does not kill them. The heat of cooking simply wakes them up. If that cooked rice is then left to sit at room temperature for too long, generally more than an hour or two, these newly awakened spores can begin to germinate, multiply, and produce a potent toxin. And here is the scariest part, and I really want you to hear this. The toxin they produce is heat-stable. This means that reheating the rice, whether in the microwave or on the stovetop, might kill the new bacteria that have grown. But it does not destroy the poison they have already left behind. You can heat it until it's steaming, and that invisible toxin will still be there, waiting. Why is this a particularly serious issue for those of us over 60? While a bout of food poisoning from this toxin is deeply unpleasant for anyone, it can be especially draining and even dangerous for an older adult. Our immune systems may not be as vigorous as they once were, and our bodies have less of a reserve to handle the stress. The vomiting and diarrhea can lead to rapid dehydration, which can affect kidney function and blood pressure. The entire ordeal puts an immense amount of stress on your whole system, forcing your pancreas and other digestive organs to work overtime to deal with the toxic onslaught. Repeated exposure, even in mild cases, can contribute to a state of chronic inflammation in the digestive tract. Have you ever experienced a sudden, unexplained stomach cramp, a wave of nausea, or a bout of digestive distress a few hours after eating leftovers? It's very easy to blame it on something else or to think it's just a random fluke. But it might not be. It could be your body reacting to the toxins from rice that was not handled correctly. It's a direct, albeit unpleasant, warning sign. This brings to mind the story of a patient of mine, James. James was a 74-year-old widower, a kind and gentle man who was a creature of habit. After his wife passed, he found comfort in his routines. One of those routines was making a large batch of his famous fried rice on Monday, using eggs, soy sauce, and whatever leftover vegetables he had. He'd store the large container in the refrigerator and eat a portion of it for lunch almost every day until it was gone. It was easy, and it reminded him of happier times. He came to see me suffering from a chronic digestive upset that had been plaguing him for months. He had persistent bloating and a nagging, dull abdominal pain. He just didn't feel right. We went through all the usual possibilities, but we struggled to pinpoint the cause. During one visit, I asked him to walk me through his meals for a typical week, in detail. When he described his habit of reheating the same batch of rice for 4 or 5 days in a row, a red flag went up in my mind. I explained the science of Bacillus cereus to him, just as I'm explaining it to you now. He was stunned. He said, "Doc, I've been doing this for years. I thought because it was in the fridge, it was perfectly safe." It's a common misconception. We made a deal. I asked him to try a new habit: cook only a small, fresh portion of rice for his meal each day. The change was profound. Within a week, his symptoms began to improve, and after 2 weeks, the chronic pain and bloating were gone entirely. It was a simple, free fix that brought him immense relief and peace of mind. So, how do we continue to enjoy this wonderful food safely? The solution is all about proper handling. It's about respecting the rules of food safety. Here is the golden rule you must remember. Cool your rice down as quickly as possible after cooking. Don't let it sit on the stove or the counter. The best way to do this is to spread it out in a thin layer on a shallow tray or baking sheet. This allows the heat to escape rapidly, moving it quickly through the temperature danger zone, between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, where bacteria thrive. Once cooled, get it into an airtight container and into the refrigerator within 2 hours of cooking, at the most. Then, you must limit the storage time. Consume that refrigerated rice within 1 to 2 days. No longer. And finally, when you do reheat it, reheat only the portion you plan to eat. Bring it to an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. It should be steaming hot all the way through. And never, ever reheat it more than once. So, please, handle your leftover rice with care. Cool it fast, and store it for only a short time. This small change in your kitchen routine is a powerful act of self-care that protects your pancreas and your overall well-being. If this information about rice surprised you, let me know. It's something so few people are aware of. Take a moment and comment on the word wow below. And now, folks, we have arrived at our fourth and final food on this list. I saved this one for last for a reason. Because it is, without a doubt, the one that almost every single one of us, myself included, has reheated without a second thought. It is a cornerstone of healthy eating, a staple in countless American kitchens. Number 4. Reheated chicken. Think about it. We buy a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store on a busy weeknight. Or we roast a whole chicken on Sunday to have leftovers for the week ahead. It's the very definition of smart, economical meal planning. Sliced chicken for sandwiches, shredded chicken for a casserole, a warmed-up chicken breast for a quick and healthy dinner. It's versatile, lean, and packed with protein. It feels like the ultimate healthy convenience food. But today, I have to pull back the curtain on a biological process that happens when we reheat chicken. A process that can turn this healthy staple into a source of digestive distress and a burden on one of our most sensitive organs. The primary issue, the very heart of the problem, lies in the chicken's rich protein composition. Let me explain this in a way that makes sense. When you cook chicken for the first time, its proteins are denatured. That's just a scientific way of saying their complex, tightly wound structures unfold and change, which is what makes the chicken tender, juicy, and digestible. Your body knows exactly what to do with that protein. However, when you subject that cooked chicken to a second round of heat, especially the intense, uneven heat of a microwave, those protein structures change. Again. This time, they don't just unfold. They can clump together, becoming denser, more complex, and much, much tougher for your body to break down. Imagine a clean, simple knot that you can easily untie. That's freshly cooked protein. Now imagine that same knot being pulled tighter, twisted, and fused. That's reheated protein. It's a much harder puzzle for your digestive system to solve. And which organ is tasked with solving that puzzle? Your pancreas. Your pancreas has to work overtime, pumping out higher levels of powerful digestive enzymes to try and break down this dense, altered protein. Doing this once in a while is not a crisis. But when eating reheated chicken becomes a daily or near-daily habit, you are putting a tremendous, chronic strain on this small but absolutely vital organ. This repeated demand for overproduction can lead directly to pancreatic fatigue and, there's that word again, inflammation. As we get older, our pancreas, like any part of us that has worked hard for 60, 70, or 80 years, becomes a little less resilient. It has a more limited capacity to recover from repeated stress. Unlike the liver, which has some regenerative ability, the pancreas struggles to repair itself. So, this constant low-level inflammation caused by the struggle to digest these difficult proteins can silently accumulate over the years, increasing the risk of more serious conditions down the line. I want you to pause and think about this for a moment. Have you ever felt gassy, bloated, or just plain sluggish and heavy after eating a meal of leftover chicken? It's not your imagination. And it's not just a sign that you ate too much. It is a very real, physical signal that your digestive system is struggling to do its job. It's laboring to break down those tough, reheated proteins. This makes me think immediately of a dear patient of mine, Linda. Linda was a 78-year-old widow who lived alone and cherished her independence. She was incredibly organized, and her weekly routine was a testament to her efficiency. Every Sunday, she would cook a large chicken breast. Each day for lunch, she would slice off a portion, place it on a plate with a splash of store-bought gravy to keep it moist, and reheat it in the microwave for 90 seconds. It was a sensible, easy, and healthy routine in her mind. Linda came to see me with a persistent, dull ache in her upper abdomen. It wasn't a sharp pain, just a constant, nagging discomfort that was robbing her of her energy and peace of mind. We suspected everything from acid reflux to gallbladder issues. But it wasn't until we sat down and I had her describe her meal preparation habits in minute detail that the picture became clear. Her daily reheated chicken meal was the likely culprit. I explained to her, just as I'm explaining to you now, how the reheated protein was likely stressing her digestive system. We decided that instead of cooking one large piece of chicken for the week, she would try cooking smaller, fresh portions every other day. It was a bit more work, but she was willing to try. The change was not immediate, but it was steady. Over the next few weeks, her digestive issues gradually resolved. The dull, persistent ache in her abdomen simply vanished. Her story is a perfect example of how a seemingly minor dietary habit can have a major impact on our daily comfort and long-term health. So, what is the practical, safe way to handle leftover chicken? First, and this is the best option, consider eating your leftover chicken cold. It's delicious sliced on a fresh salad or used to make a chicken salad sandwich. In this state, the protein structure is stable and easy to digest. However, if you really want to eat it warm, you must do it gently. Avoid the microwave if at all possible. Instead, reheat it slowly in a skillet over low heat, or in an oven at a low temperature, until it reaches an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. The key is gentle, even heating. And please, only reheat it once. Each round of reheating further degrades the proteins. So, I invite you to treat your leftover chicken differently. Think of it with the same care you would any other perishable food. Eat it cold for the best results, or if you must, reheat it low and slow. Your digestive system, and especially your hard-working pancreas, will be profoundly grateful. Well, there you have it. The surprising truth about reheating certain foods and how they could be affecting your pancreas and your long-term health. From vegetable oils and processed meats to rice and chicken, these everyday habits might seem harmless, but they can add up over time. So, we started this conversation by talking about a simple, sensible act, reheating leftovers. Now you know the hidden story, the quiet biology happening right in your own kitchen. Think back to the people we talked about today. The patients whose stories I shared with you. Carol, the frugal teacher who felt so weighed down. Robert, the grandfather, whose simple breakfast routine was causing him distress. James, the widower who found relief by changing one small habit with his rice. And Linda, the independent woman whose abdominal ache vanished when she stopped microwaving her chicken. I want you to know that they are all thriving today. Not because of some expensive new medication or a complicated surgery, but because they were empowered with knowledge, and they made small, informed, intentional changes in their own homes. They reclaimed their health, one meal at a time. The most powerful message I can leave you with today is this. You are the gatekeeper of your own health. You hold the power in your own hands, in your own kitchen. Making these small, mindful choices every single day is the single best way to protect your body, to safeguard your energy, and to preserve your precious independence for all the wonderful years to come. Knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. So now, as we wrap up our time together, I have one important question for you. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video? It doesn't have to be a monumental change. It can be as simple as, I will try baking my potatoes instead of frying them, or I will eat my leftover chicken cold in a salad. It could be, I will cool my rice down quickly from now on. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments below. Reading your promises is what inspires me, and your commitment will surely inspire someone else in our community to take that first, powerful step. Let's make a promise together. And if you found real value and comfort in our time together today, show your support by giving this video a like. To ensure you continue on this journey with us, and never miss another conversation full of life-changing wisdom, please hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a community of friends, all dedicated to navigating our golden years with health, with dignity, and with grace. Finally, I want you to think of just one person who needs to hear this message today. A friend, a sibling, your child, or a neighbor. Please, share it with them. That simple act of sharing might just make a profound difference in the life of someone you care about. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy, be well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.